Hello and welcome, everybody, to today's episode of the Angelic Footprints podcast. It's great to have you here because we have a very special guest today. Her name is Lara Bokovay. She is a mother, an intuitive, a psychic medium, truth teller, and soul guide. Her work centers around helping women come back home to themselves. Doesn't that just sound awesome? Out of the noise of their heads and into the knowing of their bodies. She teaches others to trust their intuition, interpret signs and symbolisms, and reconnect to what's real, raw, and divinely guided. Lara, you are an amazing inspiration. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me, Dagmar. Well, I mean, you summed it up pretty, pretty good there. But no, I work with primarily women and teach them how to, understand themselves and come back into wholeness and to come into alignment and what that means to be in alignment. And one of the biggest things in guiding yourself home energetically is also reconnecting with all your senses. So, all how you feel, what you know, what your body's telling you, all of the above. And my story started out consciously when it came to connecting with spirit and, the other realms that we are a part of and are all intertwined energetically, truly came back in 2016, 2017, when I was going through a fertility journey. And I've always connected with spirit ever since I was a little girl. I could sense loved ones that have passed away. And I had I've always grown up in a spiritual household,
Mhm.
so there was always signs and symbolisms. The cardinals meant loved ones, all of the above. And the first memory that I had was when my grandfather passed away. He was like the matriarch of the family. And so he had a statue of like a stag coming, like sort of on his desk downstairs.
Wow.
And when he passed away, um, as we were approaching the plot of land for the burial, a buck just walked out of the forest and approached the fence. And I was in the last car with one of my mom's really close friends. And we all noticed this buck that just like majestically walked towards the fence of the cemetery as we were pulling in. And as we were passing around the ashes, this buck was just staring at all of us through the forest, and we could sort of see him away. And there was no shadow of a doubt that he was my grandfather and vice versa. And it was
Yeah.
just so cemented of that we live in this enchanted world with so many signs and symbolisms and synchronicities, and truly everything, all signs and symbolisms can mean anything to what you attach meaning to. And it's been such a beautiful journey. And back when I was going through fertility struggles and going through the motions, I actually started seeing a healer, a crystal healer, to help clear my womb space and, energetically see what was attached to not being able to hold the embryo.
Right.
And through that process and through that healing, she suggested, well, do you have a deck of cards yourself? And I said, no, I don't have a deck yet. And she's like, I really think that you should get it. And I've always been a creative and visual person. Like, cards have been such a huge tool in my reflective journey, my self-awareness journey, all of the above. And the first deck that I got was the Doreen Virtue angel cards. And so I started using those in my own healing journey so I could see what I was processing, what I was navigating through on those first layers of healing. And then from there, I she's like, "Well, have you ever, read people?" As I continue to, practice with the cards and utilize them. And I actually signed up for my first psychic fair, and off I went. And that was November of 2018. So I had a corporate position, and I left the corporate world, and I took some time off for my own mental and physical healing. And then I sort of said, well, what do I want to do next? And so I got into coaching. And from coaching, it was, well, I was coaching people, I was reading people, and when I was reading people, I was coaching people. So
Nice.
over the years, my business has sort of merged and pivoted as businesses do to do more just intuitive coaching and guiding. And in that process, my own healing journey has been intense the last 5 years. I mean, in 2018, I left my corporate job. Then I finally got pregnant, after a year and a half of trying and going through different fertility clinics and all the above. So I sort of like launched a business and got pregnant all in the same month. And then, my daughter was born in 2019, and that was a roller coaster from juggling a business, trying to build this, all that kind of stuff. And then we entered into 2020, and I had a phenomenal month, January. And then the pandemic happened and the world shut down. And then right after the world shut down, my marriage completely unraveled.
Oh dear.
And so 2 months after my daughter's first birthday, we decided to separate. And through those processes, I was intuitively guided by signs and symbolisms and knowing that I couldn't ignore. Like, even when our relationship unraveled, it was due to I was pulling my cards that morning, and my guides and my angel said, "Look here, look here, look here." And I'm like, "This is random." So I looked there and uncovered um some pretty upsetting truth. And so everything along the path, every decision I've made business wise, all that kind of stuff has been angelically and spiritually supported with signs and symbolisms and everything to make that helped me know that I wasn't alone. Like, even when I was creating my business and trying to figure that out and all of the above, like, it was such a beautiful experience to tap into my guides, to tap into my higher self, to really start utilizing how much energy is all around us in all my different decisions. And now, you know, it's been when I ask for those signs and symbolisms now in my everyday life, it comes like wildfire. Like, whether you want to talk about angelic numbers or signs and symbolisms, I was letting Dagmar know I have about 17,000 pictures and snapshots and videos that I've screenshotted because when you're seeing it, a lot of times for signs and symbolisms, we don't give credit to what they are. And truly, they are everything that we see outside of us is a direct frequency or resonance of what we're carrying energetically. So the higher that you vibrate, the more signs and symbolisms you see. When you're seeking for help or support or guidance, if you're aware, a lot of times people see different things and they just pawn them off as like coincidences, and they don't give those signs and messages from the universe any weight. And once you start embracing the enchantment of what those signs and symbolisms and external things are, is when the magic really starts to happen.
You know, it's quite amazing hearing you start with the journey of the stag and your grandfather. And, I was getting goosebumps as you were telling that story. And I thought that was absolutely amazing and how everything has evolved over time. You also talked about getting some truths that maybe you weren't even ready for, but it was like smacking you in the face like, hello, Lara, are you paying attention? And
Yeah.
you've been able to trust and take yourself further with this journey. You talk about the 17 pictures, you talk about 17,000, should I say, 17,000 pictures, but you also talk about
It's a lot.
signs and symbols, and we're going to talk a little bit about that more as we go into the sacred space. But I want to take you back to some of these signs. You've talked about angels and how you connect with the spiritual realm. Can you tell us a little bit more about some specific experiences that you've had with angels, please? Because our listeners dearly want to hear about your angelic experiences.
One of my first awarenesses of connecting with my guides was through Archangel Michael and Athena are the two more angel figures I want to connect with. Athena has been in my we all and once again, those archangels can show up for everyone, right? We can all have very similar guides that are in our path. And one of the first so before I got into reading people, I needed to know what I was doing.
Right.
Like, I wanted to make sure, like, am I actually channeling? Is this what's happening? And so I did James Van Prague's mediumship course.
Yeah.
And in that course, you were able to every week there's exercises. And so the beautiful thing was I could practice all these exercises and see which ones aligned with me most.
Nice.
Now, you don't need to do that to tap into your gifts, but for me, it was so helpful to because I'm a visual person, I needed to send myself on a guided meditation to actually drop in to that vision or that knowing or that connection. And so one of my first Athena came so Archangel Michael always is there just from a courage, pushing my butt forward when I feel uncomfortable. But um, Athena has come in over and over and over again to encourage me to develop my intuition. And she almost comes to me. She comes to me almost like in like a gargoyle. That's what she looks like to me energetically. So she comes as this like giant winged angel gargoyle, just this giant stone statue. And I have like a round table, like almost like a boardroom, and I have like all my guides and angels sitting around this table talking to me, whether it's business, life, love, personal development, what you name it. I have this like round table of guides. And Athena is always there. And it's really interesting every time that I would even go to like a crystal shop or a different fair, like the statue that would pop out, even if it looks in different forms than what I see her as the guide, it's always Athena.
Yeah.
And then going back to working with that crystal healer and practitioner, I used to pull an angel, like what angel's with you this week. And so it was beautiful. So I'd always leave with like a new angel that week that I'd carry intentionally with me in regards to whatever I was processing. So like my connection with angels and then the cards, which I still use to this day. Those are my main bread and butter cards. Like they're you know what I mean? Like they're the cards that I really like launch most of my readings for. I don't necessarily read the cards, but they're more like words that just catapult me into the channel that
Mhm.
I'm doing or whatever I'm channeling. Almost like a walking stick. And I can drill a lot faster with cards than if I were just to, start opening a session. So it's something that like I really tapped into their energetic healing, like so everything I went through, it's like one week if I was needing to build confidence, I'd tap into this angel or I'd tap into Gabriel or you name it. So it's like every week I'd pull a new card or Sarah came up a lot. Like every week, depending on what I was going through and the affirmation that I needed to hold or the energy that I needed to hold, it all started with really connecting with angels. And originally, when I was doing psychic fairs, I was Lara Bokovay angel card reader and, that and medium. And I used to really focus on those two areas. And then it just expanded so much further beyond that, that's not how I would define myself anymore, but that's definitely how I started really connecting with my angels and really connecting with the whole angelic realm in regards to my gifts.
I love that. And I know that sometimes people don't have a high opinion of the cards. Having been in the spiritual industry a very long time myself, some people go, "Oh, what do you use cards for? Why don't you just tune in?" But I have to admit, I do like using the cards myself as that catapult for that channel to just open up. And it's almost like, oh, yeah, I'll pull a card. And then this wealth of information, boom, just comes in. It's pretty much like
It
that,
just
isn't it?
saves us
It
time. It
does.
saves
It
us
does.
time and energy. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think your story is very similar to my own in that kind of regard. Tell me, Lara, in terms of how this big change and transformation, you've already told us about how some of that has influenced your life, but how would you say that that works with your clients and how does that influence the kind of work that you do? Obviously we do evolve over time. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, as I'm sure our listeners would, in case they're looking at making their own transformation into this kind of a journey.
cards are such a beautiful, and once again, it could be an oracle card deck, it could be pulling an angel card, it could be putting angels on a piece of paper, putting it into a hat and picking an angel a day. You could do whatever your heart is called to do. But it was such a powerful to start trusting the signs and symbolisms. It's so powerful to visually see it and visually be witnessed by something that's outside of your mind,
Yeah.
outside of your head, outside of your heart. And so when you start utilizing cards, or like I said, make a little raffle, pick one a day, whatever the case is, when you start actually visually seeing something outside, the chances of there being a thread to pull through them all, or the chances of it validating are extremely, extremely, extremely high. Like, it'd be really rare if you were to pull a card and say that that card that you pulled, even if it's a card every 2 to 3 days, doesn't resonate really deeply because
True.
and the beautiful thing is it's outside of you. So if you go into the mindset of, okay, universe, what do I need to know? What do I need to hold? Even if your ego doesn't want to internalize that message, even to have that there solidified, knowing all of the above is such a game changer because it's something that you don't have control over. And so you can't just say, all right, today it's going to be this card. Today it's going to be truth and integrity. Today, like, you shuffle and the card that comes out is the card that's meant to come out. And there's no having to reshuffle or like, oh no, like I don't like that message. I want to hear something else. Like, you have to, you know, we as a society, we are so in need of control because most of us are operating in fear or fight or flight, that when we can control something, we feel more at ease, even though it's backwards. You know what I mean? It's to feel at ease that you could release all control at the end of the day. But I think the more that you can utilize and have something that's outside of you helps ingrain what actually is going on inside. And so it's a powerful affirmation and validation to have something that is outside of you that is so real and aligned. And then it's up to you whether you choose to trust it and, trust that inner knowing, trust that understanding and move forward. But it's a powerful tool to actually visually have something outside of your mind. Like, you can't make them up. Like, you can't, like, sometimes I'll try 3 different decks and I'll get the same card in every single deck. Like, you can't, that's not planned. That's not, oh, what a coincidence. No, no, no. Like, if every single deck that I use, the same message, the same card, the same wording comes out in every single one, well, that's the message. Like, you could reshuffle and pull another deck and do all that kind of stuff as much as you want. But it's knowing that, right, that was out of my control. I just shuffled. It's your energy and your intention, and then it's receiving the actual messages. And I think that's where people get blocked, is that they don't receive it. And honestly, it's a choice. It's a choice to receive it. It's a choice to receive 1111 as that you're held and that your angels are with you. It's a choice to take 555 as change. Like somebody can put a definition attached to those signs and symbolisms, but it's up to you to sort of say, right, okay, I'm held. And I mean, there's so many different examples of what those signs and symbolisms could look like, and, trusting those things. But it's more of a, every single time that you give weight to holding that, like whether it's finding feathers or finding dimes or seeing a cardinal or whatever. And these are ones that are more generic, but once again, you get to attach. A white butterfly to me is different than what a white butterfly would be to someone else. It's
Yes.
a different energy, it's a different person. And so you get to attach the meaning to those symbols, and then you get to also call those symbols in. So that's the beautiful thing, is you get to create the world that you live in. You get to co-create that. And it's just a matter of, what do you want that to look like? Do you want all this external support? And we're always held, and we're never alone. And there's more people on this planet that have passed than are alive. So like the energy of the other realms, of the spirit realms, of all that kind of stuff, are so much greater than just the current reality that we're living day to day. And so you get to create what that looks like.
Thank you for that really powerful and beautiful, strong message. I love that. And, you talk about how it's influenced your life. Well, for all of you listening to that message, go back and listen to Lara's message again, because she talks about how this can influence your life. And I too, Lara, I don't believe in coincidences. And you're absolutely right. You can pull a card out of a deck and you can get a message. And even if it's not 100% the exact same card, there's going to be themes of similarity across those messages. And you're absolutely right. It's whether or not we choose to accept what we get given. It is an absolute gift. And we have a life that we can lead in terms of the choices that we make. Everything's a choice. Everything is a choice. And I love the
Mhm.
way you've brought spiritualism and angels and guides and all of that together into the message that you've given us today. Thank you. Lara, in terms of anything that you might like to offer our listeners, the work that you do or how they can connect with you, would you like to share that with us, please?
One of the main things that I do is connecting people with and specifically women, are connecting you with your intuition. Like, I think it's such a powerful tool, to understand yourself, your inner journey, what you're going through. And so, there's different coaching containers. I work one-on-one with individuals, and I also do group coaching, as well as I do readings. But it's really powerful in the coaching containers. Specifically, I do a business, women in business, and there's something really powerful about connecting with your intuition and what your body's telling you in regards to into alignment. And I have a new coaching container that's launching in October, the Divine Feminine Business Circle. But I also, it's really interesting. And this, I was a memory that sort of came up. A lot of times too, when we're on our healing journey and we're connecting with both our feminine and our masculine energy that we all hold, one of the biggest journeys for me on my self-love and my self-worth journey has been to connect with my divine partner energetically. And um that really comes through a lot of the signs and symbolisms and knowing. And I've guided a lot of women through their journey of self-love and self-worth with connecting with their divine partners. And, whether going back to it's those signs and symbolisms that resonate with how you want to feel when you're loved the way that you want to be loved. And I've guided a lot of women on those journeys to visualize what that next partner coming in for them looks like. And, there are women now that are married with those people that they visualized in our sessions and coaching. So it's pretty powerful. And even on my own journey of the heart. That's been probably one of my biggest, the signs and symbolisms in my own journey of healing my mother wound and my father wound and healing my feminine and masculine energy within has come through signs and symbolism like no tomorrow. And that's something that's really close to my heart and I'm really passionate about. So yeah, along those two journeys, whether it's discovering what love means like for you and, or discovering who you are as an individual, trusting your intuition and building that and trusting your knowing and, using all those external angelic signs and symbolisms on your journey is definitely something that I tie into all my work.
Wow. Well, if you are drawn to connect into Lara's work, whether you are a woman in business, whether you're looking for self love or your big love, please connect with Lara because it sounds like she's got some very powerful techniques that can help you. Lara, thank you so much for being on the show. Are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners?
Remember that life happens for you, not to you. And truly we co-create our reality. So you get to co-create the life that you want. You get to work through all those different things that are holding you back, and truly it comes down to choosing to see the world through a different lens, and that is truly helpful when you embrace all the signs and symbols that you get to experience on a day-to-day basis.
Wow. Thank you for that last message. It's absolutely, well, divinely inspired, if I may say that. Lara, thank you again. It's been such a pleasure having you here. And do get in touch with Lara if there is something that you feel that she could help you with. Lara, I'll have your socials and your connection with all of those details on the website. But did you want to share that here on the podcast now?
Yeah, I mean, just through my website is the best way to connect with me. So it's www.larabokovay.com, or you can just Google me, Lara Bokovay. I'm the one and only. So it will it will take you to me.
It's nice to be unique, isn't it? Lara, thank you. Thank you so much. Like I said, you'll have all of the connections on the webpage when we release this podcast. In the meantime, if you found this episode valuable, please share information about the show with 3 people who you feel would find it beneficial. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a 5-star review on the platform where you are listening. Until the next time, blessings and may your life be filled with hope and inspiration.